Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a prostitute? I know, a controversial question as we start, but it might help us get into the text in just a minute. Have a think about it. What do you think? Scary? Absolutely. Lonely? More than likely. Full of emotions, maybe of guilt and of shame? I imagine it's pretty scary, and you probably go round with your fists clenched quite a lot. Today we read in Joshua chapter 2 of Rahab the prostitute. It's quite a long reading. I wonder if you would pause the video now and read the whole of chapter 2 now and then come back to me. Would you do that for me, please? Have you read it? Brilliant. Let's dive into it. So let's just set the scene. Israel, God's people, are on the east side of the Jordan. The promised land is on the west side. And just at that sort of entrance to the promised land is the big walled city of Jericho. Joshua, now the leader of God's people on the death of Moses, appoints up two people to be spies to head into Jericho to find out what's going on, to come back and tell Joshua. So the spies go in. Now the problem for Joshua is that they are rubbish. They are rubbish spies. Do you see in verse 1 of our text? Joshua appoints them spies and sends them out. By verse 2 of the text, the spies have been found by the king of Jericho. So they're pretty rubbish at keeping themselves to themselves and not being found. But then their rubbishness continues, as actually they have to rely on Rahab for to hide them when they get caught. Verse 4. Verse 5, Rahab sends their pursuers in the wrong direction. Verses 11 and 24, Rahab provides the spies with the information they need rather than the spies getting it themselves. And then verse 15, Rahab helps them escape. It's all about Rahab. The spies are rubbish. But God uses all sorts. I mean, Rahab is the prime example. A prostitute, an outcast. Someone who, anyone reading a story in that time about a prostitute would have immediately thought, loser, no hope. But not God, because God uses all sorts. Actually, Rahab is an incredible example to us of faith. Do you see verse 9? I know that the Lord has given this land to you. Verse 10, we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea. Verse 11, everyone's courage failed because of you, for the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below. In Hebrews chapter 11, Rahab, this Rahab, is listed in the Jewish heroes of faith alongside Moses and Abraham because of her faith. Joshua isn't in that list, but Rahab is. God uses all sorts. He uses the failures like the spies. He uses the dodgily immoral like Rahab. Wherever we are, wherever we're from, whatever we've done, whatever we'll do, God can use us if we have faith in Him. God uses all sorts, and God keeps His promises. Did you see the red ribbon in the story? Did you see where it appeared? It's verse 18 of chapter 2. Just see that for me. Just check I've got that right. So as the spies were leaving Rahab, they said to her this oath, this promise they've made that they won't, when the Israelites come in, they will look after Rahab. This oath you've made us swear will not be binding on us unless you've tied this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down. A tiny bit of red cord. For those guys, they would have looked at that red cord and thought of the Passover, perhaps. Remember the Passover? The Passover lamb would have been sacrificed, and the blood of it was put on the doors of the people of God in Egypt the night God brought them out of slavery, because the angel of death passed over those doors where the blood of the lamb was put on the doors. but also it points forward from Joshua to Jesus and his blood shed on the cross. And for us, it comes even further forward, and it makes us perhaps think of communion, when those same looking back and looking forward actions happen, or we're called to do those same actions, to look back and remember the blood of Christ shed for you and me, that our sins may be forgiven, but also to remember the promised land of heaven that awaits us, where we will eat again with Jesus, will feast with him because of all that he's done for us. Can I ask, why don't you tie a red cord somewhere around your house or around your person? And every time you look at it, let it remind you of the love of God for you, shown in the blood of Christ shed for you, and the promise of heaven that awaits for you. Amen.